Do you swear the testimony you're about to give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your full name for the record, please, ma'am.
Constance Standish.
And where do you live? Tell me this, Mrs. Standish. What is your formal educational background, please?
I am a licensed practical nurse since 1979.
Have you ever worked for any Florida hospital or Adventist health system, a nursing home?
Yes, I have.
Did you know a Rachel Bean while you worked there?
Yes, I did.
What was Rachel Bean's position?
She was director of nurses.
Did you know a Mary Thornton?
Yes, I did.
What was her position?
She was unit manager.
I'm going to take you back to events that occurred in September of 1999, specifically September 20th of 1999. Were you aware in that time frame that a Carolina Destefano had been admitted to Sunbelt Rollins?
Yes, I was. I knew that there was a resident admitted across the hall from me.
And let's just talk a little about that. Across the hall, meaning?
From my office.
Okay. Do you remember what her room number was?
307.
And if we say across the hall, is that you come out your door and directly across the hall was 307?
Yes.
And did you know a Carol Bowes who worked at Sunbelt Rollins?
Yes, I did.
What was her position?
She was a staff nurse.
Do you recall a conversation that occurred with Carol Bowes on September 20th of 1999 regarding Carolina Destefano?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about that, please.
Carol stopped me and told me about a family member wanting a dressing changed, and that she was too busy, and he brought a note for her to sign, and she signed this note. And I looked at her and said, why in the world would you ever sign a note from a family member? And she said, I don't know, I just did it. And my comment to her was, why didn't you get the supervisor to do the dressing if you couldn't do it?
Mrs. Standish, do you recall if Carol Bowes indicated to you how many times she had a conversation with this family member about changing a dressing?
Yes, 3 times.
And tell me how she related to you how the 3 times occurred.
She told me that he had come out 3 times. She did not give a time specimen, a time element as to how long it took him in between approaching her. But the final time he came out with a piece of paper and asked her to sign this note. And I did not ask what was in the note. To reiterate, I stated, why would you sign a note? And why did you not get a supervisor?
Why were you suggesting that she get a supervisor?
To do the dressing change, if the family was 3 times coming out to that same nurse asking to have the dressing changed, you go get a supervisor, because you know you're not going to get in there till you're through passing medications.
Did Carol Bowes mention anything to you about Larry Destefano being sexually inappropriate with his mother at that time?
No.
Did he mention anything to you about Larry Destefano lying on top of his mother?
No.
Did she mention anything to you about Larry Destefano inappropriately or passionately kissing his mother?
No.
What, if anything, did you learn about the whereabouts of Carolina Destefano's chart on 9/21/99?
Well, Mrs. Destefano was not a Medicare resident, but we needed to do a discharge summary when a resident leaves the building to go back to a hospital as an MDS coordinator. It's a state regulation, once again, to do a discharge summary. I went to go get the chart in order to do this, and the chart was not at the desk, and I was told that the chart was in Rachel Bean's office and had been all day.
Was it common or uncommon for charts to not be at the unit manager's location when you went to look for it?
It all depends. If the director of nurses or the unit manager, or if anyone needed a chart, they would sign it out, and a director of nurses having a chart is not uncommon. It being gone all day is uncommon.
Do you ever recall that happening at any other time at Sunbelt Rollins other than this particular occasion?
No.
Let me ask you again back about 9/21/99. Did you have another discussion with Carol Bowes about Carolina Destefano?
Yes.
What was that?
We discussed the documentation
And what do you mean by
in
that?
the nurse's notes of the speculation of what Carol Bowes said she saw.
Well, let me ask it this way. What time of day was this conversation?
It was after 3 p.m.
Where were you and Carol Bowes when this...
out in the hall,
Okay.
in the hallway,
And
on the unit.
Who initiated the conversation?
I did.
What'd you say?
I asked her about the chart, why it was still in Rachel's office.
And what did Miss Bowes say to you?
She commented that she needed to document on the chart and Rachel was going to help her write the nurse's note.
And what was your understanding when she said that Rachel Bean was going to help her write the nurse's note? How did you understand that? What did that to mean?
Objection, speculation, lack of foundation.
You can answer.
That number one, the accusation that was made against Mr. Destefano was not in the chart 24 hours later. And that my thoughts were she was going to be told what to write.
Objection, move to strike.
Did Carol Bowes ever tell you that she actually saw Larry Destefano being sexually inappropriate with his mother?
No.
When she had this conversation with you about charting, this would be late entry charting, correct?
Yes.
Doing these late entry charting, did she say at that time, I'm going to be charting exactly what I saw occur?
No.
Instead, she said what?
She said that Rachel was going to tell her what to put in the chart.
Okay. And just recapping a little bit, you never actually did see the chart to see what was being charted by either Carol Bowes or Rachel Bean.
No.
Did you come to know what the custom and practice was about charting inappropriate behavior?
Yes.
What was that custom?
To charting, to documentation, you document as soon as possible, almost immediately, so that you can your recollection would be as accurate as possible.
Would the custom and practice include anything regarding calling a supervisor?
Most definitely.